Hey, 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 Chica. Welcome to the Lovelda Show Women of Power podcast. The show where women share their personal power tools, the techniques, strategies, and ways of being which have enabled their business and life success. I am your host, Lovelda Vincenzi, a female speaker mentor, speaker, and event host on a mission to unleash authentic, powerful female voices onto the world. In today's episode, we'll be uncovering the power tools of Amy McManus. Amy is the CEO and founder of AM Marketing, a search specialist agency based in the UK. She is the UK Woman of the Future, Freeman of the London Guild of Entrepreneurs, an Associate Fellow of the Royal Commonwealth Society, and winner of the UK Female Business Speaker of the Year. This year, Amy placed in the IALSO Top 100 Entrepreneurs list. AM Marketing is an award-winning agency with a portfolio of clients all around the world. Amy managed and grew the agency while suffering with severe mental health issues and chronic pain caused by a high-speed car crash in 2014. Her resilience and dedication to her business resulted in AM Marketing being awarded the Amazon Triumph Over Adversity Award in 2017. Amy now dedicates her speaking career to improving mental health within digital, breaking taboos, and raising awareness of issues within the industry. Amy is a real-life current superhero as far as I'm concerned, and the nugget she shares in this episode relating to overcoming adversity and building a business are a must listen to. Remember, all of the links shared in today's show will be found in the show notes. The only way, and I repeat, the only way, to ensure that you get your regular fix of this show is to click that subscribe button right now to make sure that you get updates as soon as a new episode is added. Well, that is quite enough from me for now. So, let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the Lovelda Show Women of Power podcast. You better believe it, we're back again. I hope you're enjoying these episodes. And if you are, and you have not yet subscribed, shame on you. Just shame. Shame. We're back again for a girl talk. Today, we're talking with the incredible Amy McManus. Whoop, 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 whoop. Love Amy. This woman, honestly, when I tell you, I brought on some people who've lived multiple lives, but I'm a drop a few things, right? So I'm watching Amy. She speaks on marketing, in particular, like adverts and stuff, YouTube and Facebook and, Google, all those sorts of things, like how to really kind of get your name out. Really great at it. Great speaker. But anyhow, roll over a few years, I'm watching her feed. She's talking about getting back surgery. You would not even know it if you looked at her, honestly.
Thank you.
I've never seen somebody go through stuff and still have such a smile on her face all the time. Happy, snappy, like big smile and away she goes. So welcome, Amy.
And welcome. As the smile is from hard liquor.
Look, why'd you got to let people in on the secrets?
If you mix it with the painkillers, it just works out fine.
Amy.
No.
I don't want to hear sirens going and somebody coming to pick you up, all right?
No. So yeah, I am currently, what am I? I am 15 weeks post spinal fusion.
Wow.
So yeah, it's I am part titanium. I'm like a poor man's Wolverine.
So there'll be people listening who are like, okay, so let's hear the business side of things, and we'll jump into some of the personal side of things as well, because you've just
you
got
don't need to
some
go about my spine.
you've really got some, crazy hobbies, shall we say, things you do in your spare time. Hashtag living life to the fullest is all I'm going to say when it comes to Amy. So for those people who haven't met you before, how did you get into doing marketing, running your own marketing agency? Where did that come from? Did you just wake up one morning and think, ta-da, it's time?
That's exactly what I did. But in all seriousness, I did wake up one day and go, I'm going to start a business, as most people do. But no, it was a really strange story. When I came from university, I went for this store manager's role that I never thought I'd get. I think I was in the right place at the right time. The store was failing, and she just, the person that was interviewing me just thought, you know what, last resort, you can do it. You're a 21-year-old, fresh from uni, have no experience whatsoever. I'm going to give you this store, this national store, and you can be the manager. But within 3 months, I'd actually increased turnover by 273%.
Darn, girl.
Oh yeah, and it'd gone from a failing store to one that hit every target. And the only way I did that was basically ignoring the marketing that they sent from another country that wouldn't be suitable for the UK, doing my own and doing a lot of collaboration and partnerships within the area. From there, I got headhunted for my first marketing agency. And on my first day, I was presented to the head of food at Holland & Barrett. This is your new account manager. I was 21 at the time, and they just went, go, present to them. No warning whatsoever.
That's just mean.
Yeah. It's just, and I went, hello, I'm Amy. I'm going to be running the Holland & Barrett account for 700 stores. No problem. And then they dropped me off at the NEC, and I had to spend 4 days running a large stand at the BBC Good Food Show. And that was my first introduction to marketing.
Wow.
And yeah, that was being chucked in at the deep end doesn't really quite cut it. I brought on Amazon as a client. I brought on Harrods as a client. And then when I moved on to other things, it went completely from retail into a very different space, and I rebranded Ferries.
Of course, because that is a natural link.
See, no one makes ferries nowadays. Like, really, they cost so much money, so people tend to lease them as you would a car. Mm-hmm. But you've got Brittany Ferries, and you're leasing a ferry from them, and you want to make it P&O or DFDS. You have to change everything. There's branding everywhere. It's a great big massive commercial ship. So I'd have to go in and change like maybe 2 or 3 commercial decks and rebrand the entire commercial deck, and paint all of the outside. So
because you've got to change it to brand colours.
Exactly. So every single place where a logo from the old company shows, you have to cover it. Every single piece of signage. I remember one ferry I did, there was 90 different pieces of signage on one deck, all in different light boxes, different sizes, and I had to measure every single one of them and produce different printing using different materials for every single placement.
That sounds riveting, darling.
It was character building is what it was. Character building. And that was an amazing job. I'm gonna, like, people don't normally get that sort of experience. I remember being in Gdansk in Poland trying to attach a piece of signage, and I couldn't because it was January and the glue had frozen.
The things you had to worry about.
Yeah, the glue had frozen. It was a crew of 300 basically kitting out this new ship. I was one of 2 women out of 300 and one of 5 that could speak English. My Polish
winning.
had to get really good really quick.
You had to navigate beyond hello, how are you?
Yes, exactly. Yes. But it was, again, just an amazing experience, and the sort of work experience that a lot of people don't get. I've worn a lot of hats. But the main story, the best story, is the job I did after that. I went for something that I thought was going to be my dream job. And I handed in my notice within 28 hours. Very specific, 28 hours. Because I found out that a lot of my colleagues, I was the only woman there apart from the owner, but all of my colleagues hadn't been paid in a couple of months.
So what now?
I know. And some of my colleagues were being paid in other ways.
Ooh.
A bit saucy.
A few favours, was it?
A few favours.
Okay.
A few favours. I mean, she must have been good because I would have taken the money. But... And then when it was an amazing job. I was hired as the marketing director, and we were meant to be doing marketing for startups, so helping businesses get that first leg up into the world of business. So it was something that I was really looking forward to. And when I started looking into invoices, a lot of the invoice numbers were different, the account numbers were different, some of the money wasn't going into the company account. And when I asked my boss about it, the owner, she then tried to dupe me with a cheque she'd forged from Inland Revenue for £300,000. And I said, I'm pretty sure Inland Revenue hasn't existed for some years now, because it's all HMRC. And also, I'm pretty sure they don't use Times New Roman as a font. So, yeah, after I reported her to the fraud team at the government office, then I was gone.
28 hours. That, I mean,
28
that's a
hours,
record.
very specific. I counted it.
I'm kind of thinking even Britney was married longer than that, weren't she?
Exactly. So that was it. And what happened was I felt really bad for all of the people that had been duped, that she'd stolen money from. I started doing some work here and there for them. I thought, well, I'll do your marketing and I'll do some work for you while I look for another job. But the referrals started coming in and that other job never came. And it just grew from there.
Morphed into AM marketing, it did.
It did. Side point, my boss from that job did end up being committed as a sociopath. So
lucky escape.
Yeah, really lucky escape. You know, the sort of people that murder people, but phew.
I told you this woman's lived.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
just one of many stories.
That's not even exaggerated in any way. I've actually held back.
That is the pared back version, ladies.
That is.
Wow. So, but I love this idea that I kind of find that sometimes the best businesses are born from not necessarily necessity. It's like you're just following one breadcrumb after another. It's something you enjoy doing. It comes kind of naturally to you. You clearly had the time before to hone and master your craft. So it was kind of natural. It's just following that instinct. And I like that you did it from a space of service first, not necessarily from a space of, oh, okay, let me see here. It looks like there's a ready-made business. It was more, this just don't feel right. How can I help? What can I do to just make it a little bit better?
I never set out to be an entrepreneur, as they say. I never set out to be a business owner. It was really a case of I feel bad for these people that have been duped by this woman. And also, even though I'd only been there for 28 hours, kind of partly responsible for them and their businesses, and just knew that I could do something while I was looking for another job. But yeah, that's how. So really, I owe that cow everything.
Do you know what? Find a sociopath, hang out with them for 28 hours, bish, bash, bosh, you'll be ready for business.
The best businesses are born from disaster.
Oh my goodness. But I really do love that story. And I love that you share it because I've heard you share it a few times before. Because I think sometimes people think it's something you know, a business is this thing you sit down and you craft and you mastermind and you have the full-blown business plan as to exactly what it's going to be. And then you have this big reveal where you're like, ta-da! Yeah, no, there's a lot of businesses that ain't never started like that.
No. And I think the best businesses start because from solving a problem. So if you can solve a problem, that is kind of the key of any business and then the foundation of any good business. And the problem was these people were left without marketing and no one to do it. So there I was.
And don't overcomplicate the solving of a problem. You don't need a website for that and you're in marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I had a website for a couple of years, actually. It was really bad. I did not follow my own advice at all.
Well, I think it's useful for people to know because the number of people I see bound out, I'm starting a business, right? Register it, get a business plan, get the logo, get blah, 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 blah. I'm like, get a client. Get a client. See, get 2 or 3 clients, play around with it for a bit, stay as self-employed for a couple of months and see if there's anything in it before you invest overly in terms of putting all this infrastructure in place. I'm telling you this because I set up like 3 or 4 of these things. They're a pain to set up and unwind and then set it up and unwind and then I must have had 5 or 6 different frigging websites. I'm still closing them down. Like, just don't do it. Keep it simple. You don't need them. those websites did not make me successful in those businesses at
Yeah,
all. It was a lot of effort.
yeah. And also, I think it's a case of like, we see a lot of people, a lot of business owners spending money before they've even made it. And when you're starting, you know, you're trying to do everything yourself because you can't afford to bring people in at that stage. You know, there are plenty of website builders out there, such as Weebly is one that we really quite like, that you can make your own basic foundation of a website so that you have a presence. And then once you've got that money coming in, once you've got those clients, yeah, then if you want to go and spend 10 grand, go for it. But let's not spend money before you've already got it.
You heard it here first. It's from a marketing expert, peeps. Okay. It's not just me. It's from a marketing expert, and she's worked in multiple industries. Just saying.
I've rebranded ferries. You should listen to me about websites.
So Amy, this is the Women of Power podcast. So we're talking about, and I mean, you've already demonstrated your power. I mean, seriously. So we're talking about what it is, you know, powerful, what makes women powerful, and really want to have that like behind the scenes discussion about what makes you powerful. But before we get there, I like to baseline these conversations by understanding somebody's definition of power, because it's not all the same. You say, oh, this woman's powerful, but what does that mean? So in your world, what makes a woman powerful?
That's a really difficult question. When you asked me that, I didn't really know. So for me, my power comes from inner strength, which is fed by friends and family and connections and relationships. I think particularly having gone through a lot of very strange situations and a lot of hardship for someone, I suppose, quite young at my age, I wouldn't have got through those things without surrounding myself with people that lift me up rather than those that drain you. Particularly, I think even 5 years of chronic pain and mental health issues and ending in this spinal fusion, I wouldn't have done that without this inner strength and just sheer determination and stubbornness that I was just going to do it, and I was going to run my business, and I was going to have my spine fused, and it's all going to be, yeah, that's just what I'm going to do.
Normal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think the strength from women, in particular women in business, a lot of it comes from the huge support we have for each other, which is incredibly powerful. I found the more I've got involved with the women in business community and female speaker community and women in digital community, there's very little in the way of I don't like you because you're going to take a piece of my pie. Mm-hmm. It's all very much about building each other up, making sure that the opportunities we receive are equal to those that males receive, particularly in male-dominated environments. And that to me is power. Those connections and those foundations that we make with each other in our communities.
I love that. It does mean you've got to be open for connection. You can't think you're going to do all of this stuff by yourself.
No. And that's, unfortunately, that is one of the curses of running a business, particularly when you start running a business. It's very easy to think, oh, I'm going to be Wonder Woman or Superman, and I'm going to do it all myself. And I'm going to do this and that and this and that, and I'm going to do my accounts. And it just doesn't work like that. You have things that you're good at, and you have things that you're bad at. No one is good at everything. So for me, it's definitely one of the best decisions I ever made was when I brought on my accountant and my business manager, my financial business manager. Because for me, numbers and black and white is not my bag. I'm very much a bigger picture, creative, overall strategy kind of person. So knowing your weaknesses and bringing people on to help you with those is what is going to build a bigger business and a better business. And also help you stop you going insane.
And I think there's different ways of bringing people on. So I've got this I haven't told this story in a while, actually. Ages ago, I can't even remember which of the businesses it was I was running. See, learn from my mistakes. I've landed on one now, but for a while, it was a bumpy ride. It was like jumping from one to the other. And I decided I wanted to do a press release. So of course I jumped on Google, because that's what you do. Jump on Google, learn everything I knew how to learn about a press release, and spent 3-4 days writing what I can only describe as a mediocre press release, because I wasn't going to become an expert in writing press releases in 3 or 4 days. And I remember sitting down and thinking, shoot, like when I really stopped and thought about who I have in my network, 3 of my closest friends do this for a living.
Yeah.
Like do this for a living, right? And I just thought, I can't see any of them saying, no, Lovelda, I'm not going to help you out. I thought if I pick the phone up, some of them mightn't be available. At least one of the 3 will be available. And she gave me an hour of her time, explained how things work and how to headline stuff, and reviewed my draft and spruced it up for me, and, you know, put the headers and the footers the way that they needed to be, because I hadn't quite got it right, and gave me the background and insight in terms of how the market works. It's bloody invaluable. I think sometimes we can be so wrapped up in our own bubble that we can miss these opportunities because we think, oh, we need to go out and find a formal PR agency and go out and find a marketing agency when we're starting out. Like when you're further along, pay people, like dig in your pocket and pay. But when you're starting out, it is this idea of sometimes look within your network. You've built these connections and these relationships, and I know me, my besties, I want to help them out, right? Like I'm not going to feel a certain kind of way about doing a little favor.
Yeah, like when I started out, I couldn't afford a proper accountant, but I know that one of my best friends is a really high up accountant for one of the largest firms in London, and used to give me accounting advice for a Nando's. And I think he normally charges like 60 quid for 2 minutes or something stupid like that. So that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
You're like, Nando's beer? Have the beer.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
The best I can do for you right now. So I love that. Like work your network. Use, you know, build your inner strength through your network. They're people you love and trust and who you know, and over time you'll build a bigger network. But honestly, get to know what the heck it is your friends do in their day jobs.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is that when I had my spine fused in the middle of December, so it's good that Christmas was there because everything tends to slow down a bit.
Yeah.
But I had to have 9 weeks off. Like I had to have literally no working for at least 6 weeks. I couldn't drive, I couldn't even sit. I couldn't even sit for 20 minutes to type on a laptop. So if I didn't have that support network and that amazing team there to basically make sure that marketing carried on running while I was gone, then I'd be screwed. I'd be completely screwed. And that's the issue. You see a lot of people put too much responsibility on themselves. They don't delegate. They don't find good team members who they can trust. And then when something happens to them, or unfortunately, hopefully it doesn't, but if things happen, it's life, then the business fails because of it. Whereas marketing, it had pretty much, other than obviously a lot of new business and stuff slowed down, but the general function of the company didn't.
The core of the company was strong.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing happened. The foundations were there. So me being out of the business for that amount of time didn't have a huge impact, other than new business not coming in because I wasn't speaking.
That's incredible. So new business, like they might have been happy for that, to be honest. They may have been like, a moment.
We had actually in the end, we're like, oh, it's all right. Amy have a spine fuse in December. Nothing will happen. It all slows down. 4 people ring up a week before my surgery and like, yeah, we want to start our accounts. One of them is a global client and we're now running the whole of their marketing for the UK and Europe. And we were like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. We can do that. No,
yes.
It's fine.
So in this show, you know the rules, darling.
Okay.
Basically, what we're going to do now is explore your 3 power tools. I feel like we've kind of tinkered around a few of them already, to be honest with you. But I don't want to put no words in your mouth. I want to see what you say. So if you were to take all of your life and business success and boil it down to like 3 things and say, these are the things, these are the tools, these are the techniques, these are the ways of being that have been the most pivotal to me having the success that I've got, what would they be? Okay, let's start with number 1.
Learning to say no.
Okay.
That's
That
the
was a
biggest
curveball.
one. And a lot of people preach about this, a lot of entrepreneurs do, but it's really so important learning to say no. When I first started, I took on stuff that wasn't right for my company, wasn't right for the brand, wasn't right for where I wanted the company to go. But because you're in a position where you're basically desperate for clients and for money and for retainers, I took on the work and it wasn't the right decision. But or you get clients that ask you if you can do something and you say yes when it's not really your bag or not really something you specialize in, and then you've got to worry about getting other people in to do it or not doing a good job. So learning to say no is one of the most important things we can all do as humans, let alone as entrepreneurs and business owners, because you have finite energy. You only have so much that you can give. You only have so many hours in the day. So you need to spend it doing what is good for your business and good for you.
I
Basically.
love that. I know anytime I've taken on a client I shouldn't have taken on, it always blows up in my face. Like it got to the point, it was happening so frequently. I was like, this is not even worth my effort. Like, because all I'm going to do is end up upset, frustrated, there'll be money lost or something. Like, it's going to end up sucking up so much of my energy in 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. But inevitably, it don't work.
Yeah, exactly. So a year into founding AM Marketing, I was in a car crash that I almost died. And this lady came into my lane and she hit the car head on, and then my car went back through a brick wall.
Damn.
And yeah, another story.
She's
Here I
got a lot
am
of
with
them. We are
all the
literally
stories.
scratching the surface of Amy's stories. When I think she, you got titanium in you for a reason. You're like Wonder Woman.
But yes, it was not something that I had anticipated. But I will tell you something, and I tell this in my mental health talk about burnout. So when you are lying on the cold hard ground and you genuinely think that you're going to die, you don't think at all about, oh, I'm so glad I spent that extra hour on that client. I'm so glad I worked till 10 p.m. 3 nights in a row last week and got that work done. You think about your friends, you think about your family, and you think about the time you spent with them. That's all you think about when you
didn't spend with them.
Or what you didn't spend with them, exactly. So when you've gone through that sort of process and having come out the other side and years of therapy and pain management and surgeries, my energy is much more finite than others. And it would get to the point where not only am I tired, but I'm actually physically in pain because I've spent time on this. So I had a very, very sharp wake-up call on the power of saying no, because I needed to say no. It wasn't just a case of, oh, I think I should for my well-being. I have to, otherwise I'm going to be in physical pain. But it didn't affect the business negatively at all. I would say, no, I don't want to do that. Or no, I'm not going to reduce my prices for you. Or no, that's not what we should do. That's not what I advise. This is what the course of action should be. You're not the marketing expert. I am. That's a common one. But it didn't affect the business at all. It had a positive effect because the people we were bringing on were the clients we were bringing on were the ones that were taking the business where we wanted it to go, and having the audacity, shall we say, to say no to a client, say no, we're not doing that, we don't want to do that, that's not going to be the best interest, made them respect us and made them say, you know what, you're our marketing agency that's always going to tell us the truth no matter what. You're never going to be just about the money, you're going to be doing what's best for us. We're going to stay with you for longer, we're going to recommend you to others. And honestly, it sort of ties in with this whole idea that you just shouldn't give a shit about what other people think. And that gives you a much better handle on the power of saying no. But I would say that don't be the sort of person that has to go through a life event like I've had to go through to do that. Start doing it now, because it will be for the better.
Respect. I'm going to pick up on that, because what you said was they respected you more for saying no.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think often we're in a space of desperation when we're saying yes to things we shouldn't do and thinking, I can't afford to lose the client. But to think, actually, I can't afford to have clients who don't respect what I do. I think
Exactly.
that is more important, because
Yeah,
otherwise you think you're running your own business, but really you're their puppet.
exactly. Yeah.
Because if
And
you're running it from your zone of genius and your expertise, then they're hiring you to tell them.
exactly. So we've actually got to the point as well where we said how important it is to fire clients. I personally believe, and I talk about it at events, that firing should be both ways. In the same way that a client doesn't feel like an agency is for them, or they're not doing the right thing for them, they can fire the agency. The agency should think, well, you're not respecting us. Perhaps you aren't taking our advice. You're not making the changes. We're not able to do our jobs. So you're not the best client for us, and we'll happily recommend you to someone else that we think may be better suited to you. And you've got to think about your team as well, because if you've got a client like that that doesn't respect you and is perhaps you've taken on when you shouldn't have done just for the money, someone in your team is going to have to be working on that client. And that could mean you lose someone who is brilliant and a brilliant part of your company because you've taken on a client that isn't good.
All beautiful points to think
Thank you.
of the no differently, because
Yeah,
when you can have a slightly different perspective, you can do something different.
exactly.
So what would be your number 2?
Oh, my number 2. I sort of said it, didn't I? I don't give a shit about what anyone else thinks, but we'll combine those and we'll have another one as
Another
well.
go.
You have to have an amazing team. We've already touched on that, but having an amazing team both in office and out of office. Again, when I had my car crash, I did actually get rid of a lot of people in my life, personally, because I realised there were a lot of people that were draining rather than lifting, and it's quite hard to take a step back and sort of assess that, because you've got people perhaps that have been friends since school, perhaps you're different people now, that you don't get on like you used to when you were in a school environment, but also people that weren't there, that weren't supportive, and I could feel myself sitting there and I could feel myself being drained. Or you're always the one putting in the effort, you're always the one that wants to meet up, you're always the one that arranges stuff, you're always the one that texts, and there's nothing from the other side, just taking. And so I got a lot rid of those people to make sure that the team that I have around me, both professionally and personally, all were people that lifted me.
I love you've got a professional and a personal team.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has.
I know, but people don't necessarily think of the personal team per se, right? But especially from a business perspective, we're just focused on our business team. But I love that you talk about your personal team.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, I suppose it's just the way of thinking about it. But yeah, there's the personal team, because whether it's my mum, whether it's my best friend, whether it's my husband or my sister, each member of the team have the things that they're good at.
Amy, do they know they're on the team?
No, they don't know I'm on the team, no. And they also don't know that I've assessed their weaknesses and their advantages and go to them accordingly. So yeah, my sister and my best friend are really good if perhaps I want to just like vent and don't want anything back and just want to just go.
This is just a one-way dialogue.
Yeah.
I just need a monologue moment, and you are going to be the sounding board. Sit down in the audience.
Yeah. My dad's really good for a bitch. he sometimes likes a bitch. And then yeah, it's like I've got loads of other different friends. I've got one friend that's good if I just want to go out for a gin, and that's all I want is to just go out.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, different members of the team, the personal team.
So select a great team. What else have you got? What would be your third? So we've got knowing when to say no combined with don't give a shit.
Yes.
The two
Very
things come
important
together. Then we've got build a beautiful, like a really great supportive team, and we split that now into personal team. And you don't need to sit down and have a personal team meeting. They don't need to know. You just assess that for yourself. The cheeky stuff you be doing behind the background, Amy.
It's not like I have an Excel spreadsheet and I'm like, well, mum, we need to sit down and assess your performance this month in terms of your support.
I don't know that your mum would take very kindly to that.
No, yeah, but yeah, I just have it in. And if I want someone, if I just want someone who's just, just going to tell me that I'm wonderful in every single way, I just go to my nan. I would say that I could end up in prison and my nan would be like, darling, it's the best prison in the country. She's doing so well.
In your nan's eyes, you could do no wrong, gorgeous.
I think most of us can do no wrong in our grandparents' eyes, but yeah. So the third thing I think probably is honesty and integrity. The key part of building my business and the key part of building a lot of other people's businesses that I think particularly in marketing and digital marketing, it's seen as a bit of a dark art. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of jargon. It's very easy to sell to people. It's very easy to scare people. You see so many tactics, which I abhor, people ringing, pretending they're from Google, saying, I can get you to the top. I'm going to spend more money. Consultants that have taken money and not given results. And I'd say probably around about 75% of our client base have been burnt somewhere else before they come to us. So we've built this reputation on being very honest, having high integrity, and being the sort of agency that is going to tell you the truth, whether that means we lose the business or not. But it then means that when we tell you we can do it, you know that we're telling the truth, and we know that we're going to treat your budget as though it's coming from our own pocket and do the best to make the most money for you. Part of that was, I don't know if you saw, I did a recent video about us losing our Google partnership status.
I did see that one.
Did you? So this is what I mean about integrity and honesty. So we've been a Google partner for 4 years. We were actually selected to the top 30 Google partners out of 30,000 in the UK. So a really big honour. But we recently received a notification that the Google partnership status was changing. Essentially, down to the bare bones of it, Google were changing the structure so that you had to change your accounts and change how you managed accounts in order to keep the Google partnership. But that won't adhere to the best practice for the client. So essentially now, if you want to keep your Google partner status, you have to make changes that may not be in the best interest of your client and may not be in the best interest of their budget and their business, which we quite frankly refuse to do. So when it comes to honesty and integrity, we're literally willing to give up our Google partnership status in order to make sure that we do our work for our clients, and that's it.
Even when it hurts, people. It's not the first time we've heard people saying this on this show, is it? That to be honest and to do things even when it hurts. Even when it hurts, because it pays off long term, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't realise how big that video would go. Like, it's really blown up and been shared in loads of different countries. I think it was because it was entitled "Being a Google Partner Doesn't Mean Shit Anymore."
You really didn't hide anything. I saw it and I was like, oh.
I was really angry. They
ain't inviting you back.
No, I don't think I'll be over for dinner anytime soon. But the fact of the matter is, like, my agency spends over $250,000 with Google every single year. You have to be able to listen to the agencies. I'm by no means a large agency. There are agencies out there that spend millions. Mm-hmm. Everyone's in the same boat. Every single agency owner is saying the same thing. If you can't be honest and if you haven't started your business to give the best service to your clients and give them the best results for their money, what are you doing?
There's only so long you can be around in any sector before word gets round and people just don't want to come to you anymore. Exactly. Amy, oh my gosh. Gosh,
it's gone awfully quickly.
I know. My husband says I've got all kinds of interesting sound effects. My mother used to say that I'm just a loud child. You're just a noisemaker. I'm like...
My reception teacher used to say I had ants in my pants and was a chatterbox.
Do you know what? Chatterboxes make the best speakers. That's all I'm going to say.
I've still got that report card. I'm going to frame it. We're like, future marketeer.
Put it next to your other awards, babe.
Yeah. Mrs. Stone knew. She knew when I was 4 years old that was what I was going to do.
I took that to the bank.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, I'm wanting, I don't have any kids yet, but when I do, they need to come home and tell me their chatterboxes. I'm going to be, yes.
Yeah,
Bossy
exactly.
and chatterboxes. Those are the girls I'm going to be raising, bossy chatterboxes.
Exactly.
Otherwise known as communicative leaders.
If they come home and the teacher says, oh, they're awfully quiet and they like reading, I'll be like, I don't know what to do with you.
Are you sure it's mine?
Oh, mother, I don't want to go outside. I'd much rather stay in. Like, well, okay.
Are you mine?
Yeah.
Did they swap you? What happened?
No,
Amy, there's going to be people who are listening to this show.
Yes.
Who were just like, either they're thinking, okay, we need to get her to come and talk on a stage because she's just awesome. Haven't seen her in person yet. She's very, very good. Hired Amy, brilliant. You can go on the Female Speakers Global YouTube channel and see her talking there. Brilliant, knows her stuff. Seen her speak a few times, then hired her. Got to do it. Or they're listening and they've gone, I'm one of the 75% who've been burnt.
Yes.
You sound like a nice, honest person. I want to know more. Where do they go? Bearing in mind, all of these notes will be, anything she shares, I'm going to put it in the show notes as well. But if you just can't wait, then write it down now, but not if you're driving, because that'd be poor form.
Yes, don't do that. No. It's ammarketing.co.uk is our website. At the moment, we've also got some lovely tips on there for working from home, how to work from home effectively, as we're all working from home at the moment. You can go to Twitter or Instagram at AM Marketing, and on Facebook we are /AM Marketing UK, but you can also connect with me on LinkedIn, the Amy McManus.
Easy to find, all in the notes. Okay. Amy, I would like for you to help me wrap the show up with some last words of wisdom. If you should see her face right now.
Find some wisdom. Oh my God.
Darling, you've already been giving us wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take the pressure off. I'm lowering the bar. Let's take the pressure off. But I'd love you to help me wrap this show up with Amy's words of wisdom. Like if you had to leave our guests with some lasting words that just leaves them rattling in their heads just as we're signing off, what would it be? What do you want people to walk away with?
I really, really, really cannot stress enough. I want people to, within this week, if you notice yourself saying yes to something that you don't want to do, I want you to notice that trigger and I want you to say no. And I want you to feel how saying no feels within yourself, how much better it makes you feel, and also see that there aren't any repercussions of it at all. So
the house will not suddenly explode as a result of this.
Exactly. So if someone asks you to do something and you can feel yourself triggering to automatically say yes, even though you don't want to, say no and do that for me.
Just say no. So I want you've heard it from Amy here first. If it's really a no, make it a no. Yes. And honor your no's. You've been listening to the Lovelda Show Women of Power podcast. Make sure you click that subscribe button because there'll be another episode dropping soon. Until next time, go out there. Don't say yes to things you don't want to do, girl. Just don't do it. See you in the next episode.